my love. Hope you guys are having a great time over there. Hey, Jennifer, go Bills. What a win. Yeah, it was a pretty big win. Uh, Again, I think that a big part of it was the fact that we came off a loss. Hey, Kelly. Honestly, I think that if we were able to hold out or pull a win against the Rams, then this might have gone a little differently. Just because I think we came in hungry saying, no way, we're losing two in a row. Hey, Bill, what's going on? Yeah, it looks like there's a problem over on YouTube, but it's showing up. Let's see. Okay, Dana, I see you. All right, Doreen, how are you? Michelle, how are you? BJ, good to see you. For some reason, the first time I went through, I wasn't able, hey, Eli, to see any comments. Thomas, Stacy Combs. Hey, Stacy, how are you? Hello, Yvonne. Hello, Sue Waterman. Kevin, the refs won again. Dude, I thought it was a pretty clean game all in all. Maybe I didn't see what you saw. I thought the refs in the Bills game, when we had our calls against us or the calls the other way, thought it was pretty fair. Not sure about the Steelers game, if that's what you meant. Steelers were just not spot on and outplayed. Hey, you guys. How are you, Kristen? Good to see you. JTR, my buddy. Marie Clayton, hello. Chiefs won again. Yes, Indy, God bless, man. Chiefs Kingdom, you guys are doing well. Personal opinion, I think you guys should have about 8 wins in based on last minute shenanigans winning you the game, but you're doing well. You're getting lucky when you need to get lucky, and you're playing well when you need to play well. And that's what football is all about. Hey, Sheila, good to see you. Sheila and everybody else who plays regularly, I will let you know that over on the Facebook side of things, I already launched our trivia crack game for this week. Went back to 70s, 80s, and 90s era trivia questions for this week. So anyone wanting to play along, I will post a link in my link tree at the end of this live event, and you guys can check it there. Otherwise, it is currently live on my Facebook page. Anybody that wants can find the link there. Bills defense won the game in the first quarter. Lions offense looked better in the last 3 quarters. Yeah, our defense really wasn't stopping the Lions. They, after the first quarter, they basically could score, it seemed, almost on demand. But we had the lead, and I guess we were sitting on it a little bit. Umut, how are you? Greetings from Turkey. Happy to have you here. Shannon Myers, hello. Hello from southwest Louisiana or east. It went up before I could read it. I'm sorry. Helen, happy Sunday to you over in Arkansas. It definitely was a good game. Roanoke, Virginia in the house. Turkey, as I mentioned, in the house. Hey, you're live recommended here from Brazil. Welcome from Brazil. So what are we talking about, guys? Year's coming down to an end real soon. Hope everybody's getting ready for Christmas. If you've noticed on all my platforms, I've been sharing a lot of photos that you guys are sending me of Gen X era Christmases. Lots of pictures from you guys. These are pictures of our actual followers from the 70s, from the 80s. Haven't gotten much from the 90s. So those of you that are younger Gen Xers, that are Zennials, that are Millennials maybe, that are watching, send them. Go to my link tree, grab my email me the pictures. Go to my Facebook, instant message me, direct message me, send them to me that way. I'm trying to share as many as I can, and if you've sent some and I haven't seen it just yet, I promise you I'm doing the best I can. I'm a little outnumbered, but at the end of the day, generally I will have one very large post before Christmas, and any pictures I haven't used up till that point, I will try to push in there. Eli says I have no Christmas photos, not even the one where we all have. I mean, who can be Gen X or Zennial or Millennial or Boomer and not have grown up in an era where parents are like, stand in front of the tree? We all stood in front of the tree for that Christmas photo. Wyatt says, I wish I still had our photos. Wife destroyed photo albums out of spite during divorce. Ouch, dude. Sorry to hear that. Hey, Jonathan from Tennessee. YouTube is a little weird tonight. Yeah, facts. I had to reboot. Hopefully it's working a little better now. Kenosha, how are you? Buffalo Bills kick ass. Couldn't agree more, Joan. Hi, Luann. Luna. Dawn. Davina. Val's Black Cats are in the house. Vacation Sims, Betty, Patty. Pretty cool. So yeah, Christmas is coming. We're getting down to the wire. I did a post earlier today showing the Wish catalog from Sears, and probably the biggest thing that I can think to talk about today is my kids are really good at letting us know what they want for Christmas. And as parents go, I think we are really good at getting them what they want for Christmas. My kids' aunts, their uncles, their grandparents, my kids, family, friends go out of their way to try to make Christmas exactly what our kids want it to be. Our kids are sharing their Amazon wish list with every adult in sight. And the adults in our lives, we're doing everything we can to coordinate, making sure that once something is bought, the other adults in the world know that they're bought. I loved my childhood. I loved my parents. I loved growing up. I loved my Christmases. The fact that what I wanted was a suggestion that adults took less than seriously at times. Was it just me? Was it common for you guys to get everything you asked for Christmas? Yeah, Jeff, Bills win. Where would you rather be rather than right here, right now? Joseph, nowhere at the moment. Shelly says, not ready for Christmas. Shannon, Merry Christmas to you as well. My child is out of the house and on her own. It's quiet now. I missed going through the toy section of the Sears catalog. Marie says, no way. Nope. I assume you mean no way you did not get everything you wanted. Dawn says, never. Kevin takes my words and uses them against me because my childhood was brought up by the mantra, close enough. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, I mean, Sheila says 3 things we asked for. I grew up with the premise of the one big gift. So every Christmas morning, it was something like this. My parents would hand over a gift, and they would announce to everyone watching that this was the one big gift. And that meant get the camera, if there was one, trained on Johnny, because he's going to open his big gift. And then we opened the socks and the underwear and the other silly stuff that we were going to get anyway, but they decided to call it a Christmas gift because we opened it in December. And then when it was Nikki's turn to open the big gift, the camera focused on him. Now it just seems like they're all big gifts. Like my kids have number 1, number 2, number 3, and they're all pretty big gifts. It's kind of hard not to be a big gift because everything they want is electronic. We had a lot of good stuff that was still fairly inexpensive. Stacy says, never got what I want, but at least I was surprised by what I wanted. Andrew, happy anniversary to you and your wife. Kevin says, one Christmas, I almost got everything I asked for. It was the year I got chickenpox and gave it to my preschool teacher after going to see Santa. Sue says, we didn't ask for anything. Thankful for what we got. I didn't really ask, but I was really good at circling things in the catalogs and giving it to my parents and being like, listen, when you get to the store, don't try to communicate with the salespeople because my parents had the thickest Greek accents on earth. I'm like, just hand them the book. That'll do everything for you. Lifesaver books. I love the Butter Rum Lifesavers. Butter Rum was probably my favorite as well. Second only to Red. Of course, Red was the best for me. Best Christmas when my bike was under the tree. It was pure magic. I don't remember in upstate New York, Western New York, I never got a bike for Christmas. And I think that's kind of a good thing because if I got a bike for Christmas, it would be all of January, all of February, all of March, and probably most of April before I ever had an opportunity to ride it. So I'd really hate for my big gift to be something I couldn't use for 4 months. Sears catalog kept me entertained for hours, says Lars or Laros. Love the ventriloquist mannequins. Nightmares on a page, dude. Life on 2 Wheels. How you doing? Being big on music, I got a lot of records and later CDs for Christmas. Me too. Records, CDs, tapes. That was a big Christmas thing for me. Wyatt says, best Christmas memories of the year. I got Hot Wheels Mountain playset. Is there one you didn't get you remember the most? Asked Jim. Yeah, the number one thing every year, I'll post a picture of it soon. It is now, I think, the 46th anniversary of me not getting the Millennium Falcon. Most common returners, people that are used to this page, have heard the story of how my mother made a ceramic eagle for me for Christmas because when I kept saying I wanted a Millennium Falcon, she heard I wanted a bird. So yeah, that's the one gift. That's the one that got away. Chickenpox on Christmas of '87, says Andrew. I made out better not asking for anything specific. Tapes, goodness. Yeah, tapes were awesome, Lena. I just remember that was the easiest thing because we could literally just write those down real quick. And my parents, even my parents, managed to get that to work. Always wanted Stretch Armstrong. Had to buy one for my kids, says Patty. I wanted Stretch Armstrong. My parents had heard through the grapevine that he didn't have a long shelf life. He had already been punctured numerous times by the children of the people my parents hung out with, so that was the end of that. My parents were not going to spend the money, knowing that eventually my curiosity would get the best of me and I would slice them open like a fish. Which version is the aluminum eagle? Kristen says, missed it. Okay. McDonald's gift certificates were always in our stockings. I'd forgotten those were only good for drinks and French fries back then. I think it was $1 gift certificate, and you could get a large order of French fries and a drink with them. I think. Tatia says, I love the catalogs. My favorite was Malibu Barbie Townhouse. It had an elevator. Townhouse or Dream House? Because I remember I just posted a picture going back to the late 70s with a Barbie Dream House in the elevator. John Hansen says, G.I. Joes. Yeah, my second most often requested gift that I never got was the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier. That thing was ginormous. And you knew when you didn't get one of those gifts. How are you, Angry? You knew when you didn't get one of those gifts because the boxes were just not big enough for you to have gotten them. And that was the disappointment. Before you even opened a gift, before even one piece of wrapping paper was shredded, you knew you didn't get what you wanted if you asked for something that came in a really big box. And like John Hansen didn't get one either, you knew immediately on Christmas morning that you did not, in fact, get the aircraft carrier, unless your parents were sneaky. My brother wanted a Daisy air rifle for Christmas, and my mom couldn't figure out how to wrap it without giving it up. So he thought he didn't get it, but they just didn't put it under the tree. So there was that as well. I guess it was a townhouse. Okay, I never heard of a Barbie townhouse. I'll have to look it up. Yay or nay on tinsel on a tree? I don't know, guys. What are you thinking? If it's the hanging tinsel, we did it. I mean, there's things that I don't see tinsel on a tree anymore. I don't see garland on a tree, not the tinsel garland anymore. Hey, Tanya, good to see you over on Facebook. How are you, sweetie? Missed you today. Hope you had a good day. Good win by the Bills. I don't like the tinsel. There's just no good way to put it on. If you're like me and you are a little bit anal retentive about the way the tree looks, then you're forced to put it on one strand at a time, and that's just madness. If you don't care, then you just throw it on willy-nilly, and then it looks like shit, so that's not the answer. And again, I don't even like the old tinsel garland we had that just made its way up around the tree. Deborah says, yes, she likes the tinsel unless you have pets. Yeah, I've heard that it comes out of, people had to pull it out of the orifices of their pets. My mom wouldn't buy Light Bright because of all the lights and possibly stepping on them. Christopher Clark collected He-Man figures, wanted and never got Castle Grayskull. My younger brother had all the He-Man people. I remember he had He-Man, he had Battle Cat, he had Man-E-Faces, he had the Sergeant dude, he had Skeletor, of course. And I think he even had the car, but you're right, he didn't get the Castle Grayskull either. Atari 2600 was the best gift ever. I looked up the price of that, and I remember being shocked. I want to say it was the equivalent to a lot of money back in the 70s. If someone has access off their phone to Google what Atari 2600 cost back in 1980. I think it was like $200 or $300, which would be like $700 or $800 today. So I'm shocked that my parents got it for us. I don't think we got it when it first came out. We did get Pong early, which again shocks me. But I think it was one of those Christmas gifts where my parents are like, listen, if you really want this, okay, but this is it. This is for Johnny, Nikki, and Dino. It was one gift for all three of us, and we all had to agree. Scott Edmonds asks, real or fake tree? I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this. I'm a fake pre-lit tree kind of guy. I like the way they look. $190 for Atari, says JC over Kryptonite Fitness. So yeah, $200 back in 1980 definitely would have put us well over $500 today. $299, says Eli. Yeah, it was somewhere in there, depending on the year. It was a lot. And it was a lot of money at a time when inflation was high and when unemployment was high. And yet a lot of us found a way to get it. And don't forget, it was getting Atari, but unless you just wanted to play combat, you also had to pay for the games on top of it. I would say it was probably more expensive for us to own an Atari back then than it is for a kid to have a PlayStation 5 today. But yeah, I'm a fake tree kind of guy. Growing up, we just had a small fake tree every year. My mom wasn't big on those. We had real Christmas trees a couple times when I got older. And to be honest, I can't deal with the mess. The pine needles out until like June and July get to be too much with me. And I like the pre-lit. It looks pretty. It's nice. It works. Happy birthday, Brandy, over on YouTube side of things. Guys, continue to share. However you share, continue to hit that like button. Let's see how many people we can get in here today. Keep fingers crossed. John Allen went in for x-rays right after the end of the game. Tracy, was it his left hand? Because it's been plaguing him all season. We got a used 2600 from the flea market back in 82, and it was $125 then. There we go. Gotta love you, Eli. $299 in 1980. Get ready for this, guys. Equals over $1,500 today. And somehow, hey, Rhoda, a lot of our parents made it happen. So, as Gen Xers, we talk about being latchkey kids. We talk about being seen and not heard. We talk about the spankings, aka beatings we received from our parents. We talk about a lot, but a lot of us got those Atari 2600s, and we didn't all buy them for ourselves. So we got to give it up to our parents when they deserve it. And that's a big deal. $1,500 today for Christmas. But it explains why it was for all three of my brothers and me growing up. I couldn't agree more, Andrew. My parents were awesome parents. When I say it all the time, my parents didn't come to all my games. They didn't come to all my concerts. They didn't come to every showing of every play that I was ever in. They weren't home when I got home from school. They didn't know where I was 24 hours a day. They didn't know what I was doing. But that's not because they didn't love me. That's because that's the way things were back then. They spanked me. They disciplined me physically, not because they didn't love me, because that's the way things were back then. Whether you had good parents or bad parents, they still were a product of their times. My parents are awesome parents. I lost my dad. I still have my mom. Amazing, loving parents. But they were still a product of their time. First Tandy was expensive. I had one of the first Tandys. I think it was a Tandy TR-1000. Well, the first Tandys would have been the Radio Shack TRS-80s. And those the school had. I don't remember anybody that actually had a TRS-80 or Trash 80s, as we affectionately referred to them in our homes. The first computers I remember people having in the homes were like the whitish Tandys, the Apple IIe's, the Commodore 64s. Those are the computers I remember kids actually owning. Hey, older Gen Xers, do you remember if C-3PO had a silver leg? That's one of those Mandela effects. I look and he did. I don't remembering it being that way. I don't remember if my C-3PO action figure had a silver leg. I'd be willing to bet the toy didn't. I'm willing to bet the toy was completely gold, and that could be what accounts for the misrepresentation. Tandy, it was 1,000. That's the one I own, Mikkel. Well, of course you did, Sheila. Why? Because there is absolutely, you let them believe in Santa because I let them believe the sky is blue. Listen, the best line in that very, very creepy looking movie, help me out here, On the Train, Polar Express, is about hearing the bell. I can promise you, no matter what anybody thinks, I will hear the bell to my last dying breath. I still believe in the magic of Christmas, both the religious aspects and the birth of our Savior and all the fun magic that goes along with it as well. I believe in both sides of it, and I always will. And it's okay if you don't. No big deal, but that's just me. Both legs gold on action figure. I just looked at mine. Yeah, life, and I think that's where part of the discrepancy comes from, because we watched C-3PO in Star Wars for 90 minutes 40 years ago. And maybe we've seen the movie 3 or 4 times since then. Some of us that are big fans more than that. But we played with the action figure every day for years. And I think that's why I see both gold legs, because I'm remembering the action figure. Vale's Black Cat's Rule says I hear the bell too. I hope I always do. My kids, no matter how old they get, will ask me if I believe in Santa. They'll ask if there is a Santa. And my answer is and always will be, I believe. We weren't allowed a TV in our rooms, only in the living room, says Melissa, and not after 9 p.m. I was finally, I believe in the bills too. I was finally allowed a television, but I think it was shortly after we got the Atari. My mother, as I've mentioned before, was afraid that the Atari itself, with the little switch behind that went from TV to Atari mode, she thought it would somehow ruin our beloved RCA. Yes, even the 20 something year old. She asked me if there's a Santa or if I believe, and the answer is yes. So my mom wouldn't let us use the Atari on the TV because she was convinced it would freeze into the screen. It would do something wrong. So in that case, we finally got a TV in our room, and I think the first one was a 19-inch black and white Emerson. Maybe it was color. Certainly wasn't anything special. Santa is a state of mind. I like that. Go Bills, Chandra. I remember putting silver tinsel on the tree. I remember putting it on and my mom moving it, and my wife does the same thing. A lot of us had those moms, and my wife now is the mom that allows the kids to help decorate the tree, but either during the decorating or shortly thereafter, there's a little bit of redecorating that goes on. Because certain ornaments need to be in certain places. And then, of course, there's the ornaments that my wife and my mom don't like, and those always went to the back of the tree. That's a mom job. At least it always has been in my experience. My mom always told me Santa was the spirit of Christmas, and so I too will always believe. Oh, Mark Vaughn, I say go Chief and go Bills for now anyway. Good night, Lena. Thank you for popping in. We each had black and white in t-shirt TVs in our room, but it was... I can't read that. Hey, Lori Brewster, how are you? Good to see you. Lori and I went to high school together a million years ago. Mom did the tinsel and took it off every year, too. Of course, you believe in Santa. And Grandma got run over by a reindeer, too. Eli, you know I hate that song. I don't know why. I got to get around to doing... I did my 5 songs that I hate the most. Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Definitely tops the list. All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth was like number 2 on the list, especially with that damn whistling sound. For those Italian friends here, my apologies ahead of time, but Dominic the Donkey, just I can't. I can't. Jiggity jig, the dig, yeah, that's the one, JC. See, can't do it. That was number 3. Alvin and the Chipmunks should have been on the list, Kristen. Somehow I forgot about it. Number 4 was the 12 Days of Christmas. Not because I hate the song, but come on now. You should have just done 12 and listed them all in one shot. It's just too damn long. Especially if you're sitting in a concert, good night, Stacy, and have to listen to the band play it and then the choir sing it. It's too much already. And then finally it was the Christmas Shoes song. Again, not because I hated the Christmas Shoes song, but because it just I didn't get it. It's like he's watching this kid and try to buy shoes for his dying mother on Christmas. It's not a Christmas song. Yeah, no, it just made me sad. But yeah, the Chipmunks should have been on there. Now, favorite Christmas songs? I don't know. Somebody asked me to make that list. And I'm sure some of the songs I just mentioned would be on somebody's favorite list. But, oh, Janelle, it's a god-awful song. It's just very annoying, like the 100th time you heard it. White Christmas, we went caroling in Brooke Freeman's neighborhood yesterday. It was amazing. Oh, that's so cool, Maddie. We actually went Christmas caroling last night as well in my neighborhood. I took just a few of the kids out in the cold, and we went all through the neighborhood and sang Christmas songs. Bob and Doug McKenzie's 12 Beers of Christmas, 12 Pains of Christmas. Sorry, still too long. We had the broomstick tree. I still remember trying to figure out if the wire branch was red or orange on the end. Redneck Days of Christmas. Why is Overplayed Mariah Carey not on your hated list? I don't know, Ann. Maybe because to me it's still not an old song. I'm shocked at realizing that today Mariah Carey's song is as old to 7 and 8 year olds as White Christmas was to me when I was 7 or 8 years old. The song's 34 years old, but in my mind, it's not a classic that I hate. And the ones that I mentioned before go back to at least the 80s anyway. And to be honest, I don't really hate it. Joan says she hates all Christmas songs. John Denver and the Muppets Christmas, that's a good one. I like it. Agreed, Angry. Jackson 5, Frosty the Snowman. Jackson 5, anything would be on a good list for me. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, still one of my favorites. Probably one of my favorites too. Christmas Song by Nat King Cole, another good one. Yeah, Frosty, Rudolph, the Christmas Song, Bing Crosby, White Christmas, Emmett Otters. Yep, there it is. Jug Band Christmas. That's a good one. Happy Christmas War is over. I like that one. That one. Some people have different points of opinion on that. Anyone got whammed yet? No, but I don't hate that one either. Probably have a soft spot in my heart for that one because my 21-year-old loves it so much. Anything Perry Como. I just remember hating Perry Como hokey, no offense, as a kid. Because I had friends whose parents made us play that constantly, and I wanted to hear more contemporary stuff at that point. Jingle Bell Rock gets me in the spirits. Brandy said, Little Drummer Boy, absolutely one of them. Oh, dude, Bowie and Crosby, you nailed it. I missed the name. So David Bowie and Bing Crosby coming together and doing that rendition of Little Drummer Boy is probably among one of my all-time favorites. I usually have shared it by now on Facebook, and I just didn't think to share it this year, but I will. That song is just, they do an amazing job, and I love the fact that they couldn't be more different, and yet they still come together. It's one of my favorite collaborations for sure. Snoopy and the Red Baron is a really good one. I love Wham! Last Christmas. Can't believe it's 40 years old. It's not. It's 20 years old. 1984 was 20 years ago. Stop messing with math. Oh, Holy Night. Mary, Did You Know is a favorite. That's a good one. And as far as like pop songs, when pop stars do things, there's a couple really good ones there too. Not just Bing Crosby and David Bowie. Sarah McLachlan does a really good one. The Bare Naked Ladies do a couple good things that I've heard. Megadeth and Hanukkah Special. Matt, I did not know that was a thing, and because it's coming from you, I'm not sure it is, but I'll look for it. Do They Know It's Christmas? I love Do They Know It's Christmas. That's another one that some people love and others just have overplayed it to death. Go Bills, Sean. I always enjoy What Christmas Means to Me by Paul Young. Deck the Halls. Yeah, the Live Aid Do They Know It's Christmas? I love it. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. We sang that about a dozen times yesterday while Christmas caroling. Carol of the Bells. We sang that as well because the kids asked for it, believe it or not, and that's an impossible song to sing. Didn't the Aid for Africa song We Are the World come out around Christmas time in 84? It would be in March of 84 or 85. They either just had or are just having their anniversary, but it was March. Silent Night. I love Silent Night. First Noel, 84. Yeah, it was either 84 or 85, but it was definitely March. Of course, you'd like Sarah McLachlan's song In the Arms of an Angel. Eli, you never failed to catch me on that one. Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. If I never, ever hear that song again. And you know what's funny? For years, I attributed that song to Willie Nelson. Even in the video that I made fun of it being by Willie Nelson because for about 30 years, I thought it was. And the amount of hate I wished upon Willie Nelson, unfairly as it turns out, is kind of funny. Baby, It's Cold Outside. Why can't you finish that? Of course you can finish that. I like that song. Please, Daddy, Don't Get Drunk This Christmas by John Denver. Seriously? I'll have to look at that one. That I did not know. Thank you, Jody. Appreciate that. Don't like new stuff, way classic stuff. Frank Sinatra's Christmas songs can be enjoyed year-round, without a doubt. Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby's versions of a lot of these songs remain my favorites. And to this day, those are the versions my kids think are the real version. Like if there's a real version of Jingle Bells or a real version of songs we grew up with, it's the old versions. Even our kids recognize that. Hello from Washington State, says Helen. Congratulations on your Bills wins today. Thank you. Do you know what I know? I love that. How about the songs we used to sing in Christmas concerts? Silent Night was a perennial favorite. I think there's every Christmas concert. Back then, we sang actual Christmas songs. And I know a lot of schools now sing winter songs, have a winter concert. And I'm not going to debate on that. It is what it is. I do love that we were able to have a Christmas concert. And I understand that not everyone celebrates it and that it could be somewhat problematic for some, I guess, but I don't care. I love that we did it. And the songs we sang, Away in a Manger was one I remember really well. Do You Hear What I Hear was another concert song, Joy to the World. These are the songs that I remember singing on stage, eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th grade, all through chorus, all through choir. The standards, I guess. Yeah, 12 Days of Christmas swing at concerts. That's what I mean, Dorian. They still do. But if you're a parent and you have a kid in band and a kid in choir, and both the band and the choir do the 12 Days of Christmas, you've just kissed 2 hours of your life goodbye. Hark the Herald Angels Sing, definitely. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Do you hear what I hear? What's going on, Topher? Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Springsteen is a good one. Kayleen says we still have Christmas concerts. I gotta look. We're in the Charlotte area, and I think we still have Christmas concerts here too. My youngest, I guess I think it might be called a holiday concert now. But she's doing the solo with Silent Night. They're just doing it in German this year. And she earned the solo for that. So that's going to be kind of cool for me. Never really liked Christmas music. I love it. It makes me happy. I don't mind listening to it the day after Thanksgiving. I'm already on the Christmas station. I love it. It's once a year. It makes me feel good. Little Saint Nick by the Beach Boys. I'd forgotten that one. I like it. Hokie says it's a Christmas concert. Nice. Yeah, so a Bad Father Award, one of many that I get. She's auditioned for solo after solo after solo, and doesn't really, they never even got so much as a callback. And I think she has a beautiful voice. But I'm like, she's like, I'm going to go audition for the solo again. And, I did not because I'm a bad person or anything, but I'm like, really? Like in my head, I'm thinking, you need like a house to fall on you or something, unless your voice has changed and I'm not aware of it. The teacher doesn't like your voice. It's time to move on. Find something else to do. But I said it nicely. I'm like, really? You're going to try again? And she's like, yeah, why shouldn't I? And I'm like, no, of course you should. And she's like, then why'd you ask like that? Yeah, discussions our parents never had with us. If I said to my parents, I'm trying out for a solo, I would have got a grunt as they went on their way to work. But we engage our kids and get in trouble as a result of it. But I backed myself out. I'm like, no, sweetheart, I know how much it means to you, and I feel bad when you don't get it. And then, of course, she got it. So, wrong again. We have a station here that's been on Christmas since 5 p.m. on November 8th. Again, my dirty little secret is I probably wouldn't mind it. I love it. I just heard 2 days ago on the radio, Grandma got run over. I will hear the first note and it's gone. I associate Off to See the Wizard as a holiday song because it was always played this time of year. I can see that. Thanks, Kimberly. Thanks, JC. Yeah, we're really proud of her. And I'm proud of her because she kept trying. And I got to be honest, I don't know. I don't know as a kid if I would. My parents, if they said anything, were fairly verbal on, if at first you don't succeed, try something else. Stop wasting your time. Go pick up extra shifts at work instead. She was very determined, Shannon, without a doubt. You must take that after her mama. Hope she knocks it out of the ballpark. I hope so too. And more than anything, I hope she has fun. I hope she makes a memory that night. I hope it's a good memory. It's scary. How many of y'all have done it? Stood in front of an entire group of people and sang alone, spoken alone, given a speech. I had a monologue. We're in a play. It's when kids can do that. I was big in musicals and more in plays. My singing voice is meh. But I liked plays. I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun being able to stay up to school every day with a bunch of kids. And be involved in like putting together a play or a musical is a big deal, and making back then there weren't a lot of parents helping with sets. We made the sets as kids ourselves, and it was really cool. But it's something to have to do it. Hella says I had to give a speech to over 300 people at a graduation. It sucked. I spoke at my own graduation, and it's scary. I've spoken in front of pretty big groups of people at times, and I enjoy the rush. My wife doesn't quite understand it. I like that feeling of nervousness a lot, but some people don't like it. Oh, heck no, it scares the poop out of me. Chorus is fine. Merry Christmas, Patty. Take care. I was in a skit in elementary school but couldn't speak solo. That's my phobia. I think it's the number one phobia is public speaking. It may actually be on top. And again, you can Google search me, fact check me in real time. I could be wrong. It's definitely among the top. But yeah, it scares people. Take her flowers. She'll remember that. We take, even when she's just in the choir, we always take her flowers every year. Without a doubt, Lori. She's my little girl. Of course I take her flowers. Hellraiser says, nervousness to the extreme makes me sick. The more nervous I am, the more I like it. Like because it's just that energy, that nervous energy. When you're so afraid that you could just feel every inch of you. It's I don't know how to describe it, but it's like my entire body's on fire. I love it. Public speaking was Steve Irwin's biggest fear. Maybe it should have been stingrays. Your Bills just took down our lines just today. Adrenaline. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe I'm an adrenaline junkie. First solo was in 7th grade Christmas concert. I had a solo in grade school. I sang I'm a little Holly Berry. Hey, Jody, thank you. I'll make sure to see if I can post a little bit. If she allows me to. Thank goodness I was 12th in my class, not earlier. Teach their own. I'd rather play with snakes and spiders, says Quark. Speaking isn't my thing. I took the class in high school and I flunked it. Bet you can't name the reindeers in alphabetical order. Rain, probably not in alphabetical order. I can probably sing it, which is the only way I got through the preamble of the Constitution, too. Sheila says that was low blow, Jono. What did I say? What did I say? Probably unintended. Hey, Cherie Tyler. How are you, sweetheart? Good to see you on. Oh, Stingray comment. Well, I'm not wrong. Oh, everybody knew exactly what it was that I said wrong. Aren't the Bills building a new stadium? They are, David, directly across the street from their old stadium. It's called the Pit at the moment, based on the giant hole they dug to put it in. Well, I mean, honestly, for his own good, if his number one fear had been stingrays instead of public speaking, he'd still be alive and maybe a good public speaker on top of it. I don't know. Shelley says, I'm a writer, not a speaker. No roof, Kevin. Although they're saying that 60% of the seats will be covered because as it's coming up, it allows for some coverage. Michelle says, funny but wrong. Hey, you just described Generation X in its entirety. Funny but wrong. We are the generation that came to school ready with jokes after the Space Shuttle Challenger explosion, remember. We grew up on equal parts dead baby jokes and grosser than gross jokes. We had truly tasteless jokes 1 and 2 available at the Scholastic Book Fair. Funny but wrong is our national mantra. So I'll take that kind of with pleasure. Maddie says, I'm a lover, not a fighter. I know your wife, dude. Not much of either. What are the Bills going to do with the old stadium? They are going to demolish it. It's going to become part of the parking. So it's going to be parking, which I think is sad to have a fully functional thing like that could be used for other things. But yeah, no, they're going to knock it down. Half dome, if that's what it's called. Yeah, it just comes in a lot further to allow some coverage. Supposedly, based on engineering, it will help keep the snow out, but not the wind. I don't know. NASA stands for need another 7 astronauts. Here we go. Most of us have taken a punch and thrown a few, without a doubt. I explained to my daughter what FAFO meant. Most of us, let's see, sarcasm and gallows humor were the driving forces of Gen X. You know, and it's so, if you're all following the news, right? You've seen what's been going on in the news today. with the assassination of the CEO, my apologies, of the health insurance company, the drones flying over New Jersey that nobody knows what they are. There's just a lot of weird, horrible, unexplainable stuff going on. And I overheard my sweet, beautiful, wonderful 12-year-old talking with a friend of hers the other day, and I can't remember the joke specifically, but I was almost proud that some of their humor was kind of inappropriate, and it was gallows humor. And I think it skipped a generation because a lot of bad things happened, and I don't recall, not that they should have. I'm going to get myself canceled. Not that anybody should have made fun of 9/11 or made fun of anything horrible. Nobody should do that, but we probably would have. 7 astronauts blew up, giving their lives to their careers. A teacher gave her everything, and we made fun of it, and we shouldn't have, but we did. And now when I'm watching kids today making fun of things they shouldn't, maybe I'm not as quick to correct them as I should be. I'm letting it go a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense. But these Gen Zers, a lot of them are confused. I'm not going to go into the whys and the hows and the what fors. My job isn't to judge them. They just do things differently than we did. But there definitely is a little bit more of a sharpness to their humor than I've seen in a while. Weird Al's Christmas at Ground Zero has another meaning now. That's how we coped and really didn't know better. What kind of wood didn't float? Natalie Wood. Aren't your kids alpha? The oldest is 21. That's Z. The youngest was born in 2012, which could be the first year of alpha, the last year of Z. It's kind of early. If y'all remember, Gen X used to go to 81. Gen X actually used to go to 85 at one point. So based on the sizes of the generation, sociologists will go in and change those numbers. Leonardo, sometimes I don't even see the comments, I'll be honest. So Leonardo brings up a good point, says I always ignore the comments. I'm doing the level best I can with the hundreds of people, thousands of people that come in and out of here, but the algorithm itself chooses what comments I see. So if you think I'm ever ignoring all of your comments, guys, odds are I didn't even see it. I don't intentionally ignore anyone's comment, although the fastest way to get a Gen Xer to ignore your comments is to complain about them being ignored. We're just kind of quirky like that. We saw the Space Shuttle Challenger explode in 8th grade. What was the conversation about? They were talking about the UFOs, and then somehow it went to people that had been abducted by UFOs, and then somehow it went to the things that might have been done to those people. Believe me when I tell you, it was not appropriate, but I just pretended I didn't hear a thing and moved on about my day. New generation beta coming in 2025. I don't think any generation wants to be known as beta. They're going to have to come up with a better name for that. What do you like about being Gen X, Jody asks? I like the fact that we are the last generation to grow up without any mass communication, without any way to tie us together. That I grew up in Western New York, and some of you grew up in Michigan. If you're my best friend, Matt, you grew up lots of places. We grew up, the Bills won, Jessica. We grew up separate. And except maybe for pen pals that we were assigned, we couldn't communicate with one another for any vast amounts of territory or space. And yet we all have the same stories. We all have the same jokes. We all have the same things we heard growing up. We all remember the same songs. We all remember doing the same things. We did things alone together. And I think that's a really, really cool thing, that our social media was invisible. It didn't exist, but somehow it was there because we still found a way to connect. And now that there is social media, I think if there's a generation that found a way to use it and to use it about as well as it can be used, I think it's us. Other generations have noticed it. Some have said nice things about it. Others not so nice things that kind of mock it. But we've created a community on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. And we're connecting now in ways we never used to. That's probably my favorite thing is we can disagree on politics. We can disagree on religion. We can disagree on how to raise our kids or what to eat or what to do. But at the end of the day, we still share something that's stronger than all those disagreements. We all grew up the same. A lot of us, we all didn't do anything. I get that. Some of us had horrific childhoods, but generally speaking, most Gen Xers I speak to, share in common that our childhood was special and we wouldn't change it for anything. I always say that if the price to pay for growing up as a kid in the 70s and the 80s, if the price I have to pay for being a 20 something throughout the 90s, if the price for being able to have existed in those days is that I'm old today, I'll pay it every day of the week and twice on Sunday, because every person that's lucky gets old. But not every person got to be kids when we were kids. We're all going to get old. We're all going to die. Everybody on the face of the planet will do those two things. Again, assuming you're lucky enough to get old. But not everybody got to be a kid of the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. And I think that's pretty special. I'm proud to be Gen X. I have a voice and I can use it if I get in trouble. But hey, I don't give two shits. Yeah, our selective apathy is a superpower. When did I stop listening to today's music? I probably living room. I still listen to music today because I have kids, right? So I'm lucky. I'm that type of Gen Xer that still has a 12-year-old, so I'm exposed to young music. If we're taking a trip, they won't let me just play my music the whole time. And I hate when everybody has their own headphones on and listens to their music alone. That makes me sad. So we try to find something and take turns listening to each other's music as much as we can. But generally speaking, my real awareness of music probably stops in the mid 2000s. 2006, 2007, 2008. I still knew music really well then, and it's probably about as far as it goes. We grew up in a tiny town. We got together for funerals. A friend died this weekend. Rest in peace. I'm sorry, Joan. I grew up in a really small town too, but I think the cool thing about when we grew up, if you're a kid of the 70s and 80s, even if you grew up in a big city, you grew up in a smaller neighborhood. There was always this partitioning that went on. I talked to friends that grew up in bigger cities, and a lot of the things that I remember about living in a small town, they remember as well. I talk about how everybody knew me in my town, so I couldn't get away with anything. And kids that grew up in really big cities back then say, oh, I experienced the same thing because of the people in my neighborhood. My neighborhood was that for me if I grew up in a city. So when I talk about growing up in a small town and having parades and Christmas parades and marching as a Cub Scout and having the Shriners be in the parade and fire departments from different, I still like that I live in a small town that does that. I went to my daughter's Christmas parade yesterday, and the Shriners were driving the Hot Wheels car. You had these 70-year-olds, Chris. You had these 70-year-olds driving these Hot Wheels cars in the parade. It was awesome. We had fire departments come through. You had a marching band. You had my daughter's team who took the championship in 7th grade volleyball. They got to be in the parade. You had Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts and Weebelows, and I just thought it was really cool. I really enjoyed watching that. And I wonder how much of that still happens today outside of small towns. Because oh my God, Hokey, thank you so much. Guys, give Hokey some love. Major, thank you so much, Hokey. So you were allowed to do these super chats and I'm speechless over on YouTube. And Hokey just blessed me with $50. How far away did I ever ride on a bike before? Dude, miles. I'm talking miles, like miles. Do you ever, if you remember watching Frosty the Snowman, when the little girl gets on the train to go to the North Pole with Frosty, Frosty says, would it be all right? And she says, well, as long as I'm home by supper, my mother won't miss me. As long as I'm home by supper, it should be okay. Well, that's what it was like on our bikes growing up. As long as we didn't go so far that we wouldn't get back in time, it didn't matter. But I gotta guess, if I'm just making a guess, I was 4 towns over, which would have probably put me 15, 20 miles away from my house when I was 9. Getting lost was an amazing thing. Yeah, 20 miles. JTR as well. Kimberly, great question, Hokey. And again, thank you so much. Kimberly says 17 miles by herself at 12. David says small towns are awesome. And again, it's Merry Christmas, Hokey. That was too sweet. Again, even the bigger cities were like small towns when we were growing up. My cousins lived in Toronto. And a lot of summers I'd spend with my first cousins in Toronto over in Scarborough. And the neighborhood was still small. Like, even though it was a big city, the neighborhood was small. And the city wasn't even that big then. Oh, Weebelos, yeah. There's a bad joke about Weebelos too, but Weebelos were the this right between Cub Scout and Boy Scout was Weebelos. Lori says even small towns around here don't do that anymore. I love that we did. Scarberia in Toronto. Okay. Sending me virtual $51. Appreciate you, Maddie. As long as you're home by the time. See, and it wasn't even the lights with my mom and dad. The restaurant closed at 9, our diner. My mom might have come home a little before that. I just had to be home by like 8 o'clock. That was about it for me. That was, I could be, even be out afterwards. Jody, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you all. Weebelos will be loyal scouts. I never knew that, David. Then you have Eagle Scouts at the top. No way I was making it that long. Miss Christmas from the 80s. Yeah, but somebody mentioned they thought it was cool I went Christmas caroling. I do it every year. I take whatever kids want to come. And some years we've had as many as 30, 40 people go caroling. And then other times it's like last night there's about 8 of us. Maybe 10. But I miss the 80s. I miss the Christmas I grew up in, but it's not enough to miss it. I want to bring as much of it back as I can, which is why we do that. And to see the faces on some of the older people in our neighborhood and some of the newer people in our neighborhood, the younger people, the transplants, the shock on their faces when they hear music outside their door. And I got to be honest, some people I knew were in there and didn't come outside. I don't know if they thought we were asking for something, and it kind of made me sad. Actually, if I'm being honest, it made me really sad because to be that skeptical, to be that cynical, I don't think even as a Gen Xer I have that level of cynicism in me. If I heard these little voices outside my door, I'd open it. Most did, some didn't. Hey, good stuff. Thank you so much. Good to see you coming in from Russia. Lots of love going back to you as well. So yeah, some people didn't open the door, but a lot of people did. And a lot of people were like, you just made my night. Hey, Cindy, thank you so much. Another $4.99 from Cindy. Guys, again, I have to say no one has to do that. I appreciate it. It's beyond sweet. As is coming in every week and sharing your time with me. I just wanted the kids to, the way I described it to the kids is on Halloween is about y'all. You go to get stuff. Christmas is about them. We're spreading cheer. We're going to go door to door right now and we're going to spread Christmas cheer and we're going to make people's days. And we did. People were giving out hugs because they didn't know we were coming. They're like, you should have let us know we were coming. We could have had Coke. I'm like, no, that's the point. We don't need anything. So it was awesome. Merry Christmas from Saskatchewan. My group of Cub Scouts just sang at a senior resident. I love that. My daughter, they sang to a bunch of senior citizens as well, and that's sweet. I would challenge you guys, if not this year, to do it in your neighborhoods. You'd be surprised how many people enjoy it. There were young couples with young kids that got their kids out of bed just so they could have that memory of someone coming to their door and caroling. It was very, very cool. As a kid, we'd go to members' houses to sing for Christmas. The good old days. We did caroling in 4-H years ago. I love and feel your show. Everything you say resonates with me. I'm so glad, Lori. That's awesome. Sheila, Merry Christmas to you as well, sweetie. Thank you so much. We used to get cookies and hot chocolate. Yeah, Shelly, we did as well because people knew to expect us and to have those Christmas cookies on hand. People didn't know to expect it this time. Don't be afraid to wish people Merry Christmas. Don't be afraid to wish people a happy holidays if that's more in your wheelhouse. Don't buy into the fact that one is okay and one is not. As long as, listen, guys, there's nothing you can say with the proper intent that would ever offend me. As long as your intent is pure and good, that it's all good. Go out there and spread happiness, spread cheer, spread joy. Be the product of our generation. Don't be hard on those that come to the door. They may have a good reason. Old injury. Pam, I know who those people were that didn't come to the door. And although you are so sweet for thinking, don't necessarily think the worst of them. I know who I'm talking about. But you make a valid point. Or just have a good day. Absolutely, Quark. Or just open the door for someone. Anything. Any small act of kindness. What are my favorite? Hokey, you are way, way, way too generous. And I hope you're okay with being that generous. Hokey Redneck asks, what are my favorite cookies? You're not going to know them. They're Greek cookies. Jody, thank you for gifting memberships on YouTube. You guys are too much. So they're like these. I used to hate them as a kid, and I'm trying to remember the name. Any of the Greeks watching? They are the Christmas cookies that are dry as cardboard, and they have powdered sugar over the top. But you cannot eat these things without having the tallest glass of milk ready. I hated them. As I love the snowflake Greek cookies. These are the Greek cookies. They're like just thick and dry and powdery. But now as an adult, I lost my mother-in-law a couple years back now, and she made the best of these. Kotrides. That's it exactly. That is awesome, Jennifer, and I never would have known you for Greek. But yes, Kotrides are my favorite Christmas cookie. God darn it, I think that's so cool. Thank you for that. Kotrides, to answer your question. And I hated them as a kid. But now I love them to pieces because I can't have them the way I remember having them. Always want what you can't get. Thank you for the question and for the donation, both. Arizona, they're called Mexican wedding cookies. Sounds like Mexican Christmas cookies, the sewing box cookies. I saw a bunch of those sewing boxes, the actual cookies the other day in the store, and I so wanted to open them because I was so convinced that inside was going to be sewing supplies and not cookies. Colada, colada. I don't know that one. My wife makes the world's best, not Kotrides, lucumades. She makes really good lucumades. My in-laws make those and they aren't Greek. Snickerdoodles. I love that everybody has their things. Please say hi to my friend. Yeah, okay. Sub anyway, Arian, but I'm a little faster than that. You got to do, Arian, listen. If you're going to throw something like that up in the chat, realize that my generation, we kind of grew up making prank phone calls and introducing people to Mike Hunt, among other people. So putting something like that in chat where it's so obviously read, I think I deserve a sub regardless. There you go. Thank you so much, man. I love baklava. My mom to this day makes phenomenal baklava. Russian tea balls. Sounds good. Oatmeal raisin cookies? I don't know, Steve. I don't know. I grew up thinking that they were going to be chocolate chip and got oatmeal raisin. Where's Mike Hunt? Love you, Kristen. All right, what are we at here? We're at 56 minutes and 58 seconds. So we're going to keep going, but we are nearing the end of this week's show. Now, next week, we're still going to be on. It's going to be the last Sunday, I think, before Christmas. What date are we on? 14, 15. So the 22nd will still be there. Greek snowflake cookies, so good. Has anyone seen Mike? Who hasn't? Somebody asking if anybody has seen Michael Hunt. No, I haven't seen Michael Hunt. What was I saying? All right. The schedule. It's going to stay the same. We will be live this Tuesday on YouTube. Over on my Gen X channel YouTube page, Tuesday at 7 p.m. I'm taking my followers to work with me at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And it's an AOL chat room style live where I'm working. I'm running around like an idiot, and you guys own the chat room. I have a couple of moderators doing their level best to keep it as clean as you can keep anything with Gen Xers in there. But Tuesday night on YouTube is basically y'all listening to a bunch of questions around trivia and just getting to know one another, asking ASL, and treating it as a chat room. That's Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Then on Friday at 5:30, also on YouTube, we have the 3-View Mirror, which is a podcast / show that I run with two of my best friends on the virtual side of things. And we do that at 5:30 p.m. on Friday. And then we get right back here again next Sunday for our Christmas show, Christmas edition of the Wonderful World of Generation X. God, I can't appreciate you guys enough. You have been more than generous on the YouTube side of the house. I've seen on Facebook, some of y'all, where is Amanda Hug and Kiss? I've seen some of you on Facebook have taken advantage of the button below to subscribe for exclusive benefits. That subscription button does come with a 99 cents a month charge. I know for some people that could be a lot. If you choose to do it, I appreciate it. Am I off Christmas week? I'm not. I'm actually bartending Christmas Eve. I picked up the shift because my kids are a little older now, and the other people that would be working have younger kids. So I wanted to make sure that I was working so they didn't have to. And I'll be home early, so it's not a big deal. I'm laughing and crying. You guys crack me up. That is entirely the point. So, yeah, if you want to subscribe on Facebook, I'd appreciate it. We are very close, I think, to our goal of 200 subscribers over on the Facebook side of things. 99 cents a month, $200, 200 of them is what my goal is at the moment. Eli, thank you for gifting memberships on the YouTube side of the house. And then finally, starting in exactly 5 minutes on my link tree, you will find a link. Thank you, Rhoda, to the Gen X era Trivia Crack Challenge. Now, if you don't want to donate any money, if you don't want to spend 99 cents a month or even 99 cents a year, you can just play Trivia Crack for free. They sponsor my page. They partner with me, and I create a Trivia Crack game every week centered around Gen X era questions. Go to my link tree. Click on the Trivia Crack Challenge in about 5 minutes after this live because I've got to update the link. Or go to my Facebook page and just click the link on the pinned content that I've put over there. Kevin with Bend Over. That's it. I hope that's not too much to keep track of. I'd love to see if we can get at least a couple hundred people playing Trivia Crack this week. That would be awesome. Love you guys to pieces. Have an amazing week. Don't let all the Trivia Crack sounds lewd. Don't let the holiday stuff get to you guys. Stay intent with the meaning of it. Be happy. Enjoy it. Try not to let the stress get to you guys. And I'll see you back here, same bat time, same bat channel on the next live. Love you all. Peace and take care of yourselves.